gosh. Okay, what happens on, let me see if I can just do that. Okay, that works. That will have to do. Oh, it's already live. I hit live.
Yeah, you did.
I did, so it's live. Oh, we were having some technical difficulties. I want to thank you for taking me to lunch today.
Oh, you're very
We're-
welcome.
we're
Happy
gonna-
belated birthday.
We're going to get right into this, and I thank you for being patient, because I always say what happens on live stays on live.
This is very true.
Okay, in this compelling live discussion, I, Dennis Schleicher, a gay Latter-day Saint, engages in an open and respectful conversation with a friend of mine who's a pagan, offering a unique glimpse into this, what's that again? I can't see.
Convergence.
Convergence of two different spiritual paths, with the goal of bridging gaps between our faith. We delve into the challenges and the joys that have shaped our beliefs, drawing a personal experiences of identity, community, and spirituality. By comparing our views on the divine, exploring how our faith provides purpose, and addressing common misconceptions, we hope to foster understanding, inspiring dialogue, and find a shared common ground in our journey towards spiritual fulfillment. We have our friend Craig from New Zealand on. He said, morning, guys. It's good to have you on. And thank you for the likes and the comments. So I have a list of questions I'm going to ask Tala, and we really felt inspired by the Spirit. Both us do have the Spirit with us. And we're going to dive into that. But I have known Tala since the 90s. She, to just give you a brief glimpse, she worked at a hairdressing school as a financial aid person, where I went to cosmetology school. But I can only do your hair like 1989, so don't ask me to do So our technical difficulties.
No, you can do the Rachel, can't you?
I can do the Rachel, yeah, from Friends. But we have to be careful. The table, we flipped over the picnic table. We're sitting on a hill with a swamp behind us that we could end up in any
We
minute.
could end up in that swamp.
The pagan and the Latter-day Saint falling in the swamp.
Yeah, a pagan and a Latter-day Saint go to a park.
Go to a park and ... So the first question I'm going to ask her is, and we're just going to let this happen organically. We don't want this to be scripted. We want you to feel that we need more love and experience in this world. But so to explore personal journeys and beliefs, as someone who identifies as both gay and Latter-day Saint, I've faced unique challenges and joys in my own faith. Tala, how has your identity influenced your spiritual path?
In a lot of different ways. In many ways, I feel I'm still discovering my path, and I think anyone who is open with their own spirituality will continue to be on their path, will continue to have questions, will continue to, seek answers, so to say. This has brought me joy in getting to know myself better, getting to understand what gifts I have, and allowed me also to step out of ego.
I love that.
Because I think ego is a lot of the problem in the world today. That's where judgment comes from. That's where unhealthy selfishness comes from. But there is a healthy selfishness. I always say you can't give from an empty cup, so be sure to fill your cup.
Yeah.
Get enough sleep, get right nutrition, do for you, that sort of thing. But it has helped me to help others. I don't try to convert anyone one way or another. I always meet people where they are.
Yeah.
And I used to be judgmental. I used to be, well, if you believe this, you're
Me
you're
too.
this label, that label, whatever.
Yeah.
And And this has helped me get closer to spirit.
Let me just say right there, you brought up two key points where I laughed and chuckled, because we believe in humbling ourselves, and we believe in what can I do for you? It's not about me. It's about what can I do for you? And that's something you just brought up. And we also believe in healthy sleep and getting, a full night's rest and working hard, playing hard, but also getting that sleep. And our missionaries live a very regimented life for 2 years when they're set apart to serve, and they go to bed, they turn into pumpkins at 10:30. They are up at 6 a.m. They do a half hour worth of exercise and scripture study, so they're very
Regimented,
but sleep and healthy. And that's something that you touched upon. If you have questions for us, please ask. Again, this isn't going to be the first time we're going to be doing this. We decided we're going to dive into this even further, because there's more religious questions that I don't really have the answers to right now. So I have to ask some people over at BYU or whatever to get an idea of, the religious professors, because she is knowledgeable about a lot of things. So let's go into comparing the contrast of our beliefs. How do you view the concept of identity, the concept of deity or the divine, and how does it compare to Latter-day Saint beliefs in God and Jesus Christ?
Well, I first want to address the term pagan.
Yes.
Okay, because I think in many ways that, the Church of Latter-day Saints has been prosecuted and persecuted, rather. So have many pagans. But people think they have, these preconceived notions of what a pagan is. A pagan is a witch, or a pagan is a devil worshiper. All pagan truly means, according to Merriam-Webster, is someone who is not of a common faith, mostly not of Judeo-Muslim, the other escapes me, Christianity most of all. And yes, I suppose if, you're those other things like a, witch or this and that, you are considered pagan. But I'm pagan in the way that I work with more an earth-based spirituality.
Like falling into the swamp behind us.
Like falling into the swamp, that would be a wonderful sacrifice, an act of attrition, I guess.
Yeah.
But working with earth, with nature, paying attention to what messages that come through from spirit. For me, they come through, I will hear something in my head and heart, but for me, I also have an encounter with an animal.
Yeah.
And a particular animal, means something.
Yeah.
And I even use that to help other people. And I don't try to say you need to believe this sort of thing. I'll just say, if this, like when people are feeling very, like this, I always say, think of hawk.
Yeah.
Think of hawk. Like, put yourself in the position of hawk. Like, take that deep breath and spread your wings. And usually this is like mouse or squirrel, where you're getting very caught up in details and getting very furrow-browed and, to this. Take a step back. Take that deep breath. Have that long, huge oversight. Hawk can see from a mile away. You want to look at things from a greater distance and see the whole picture, so that you don't get so wrapped up in the day-to-day. And you say the devil is in the details, I think that means a couple of different things. If you're so caught up in one little thing, you may not see this other aspect that is so important to be handled.
And this brings up an interesting point. Is I'm deathly afraid of snakes, but our original prophet Joseph Smith, who restored the gospel of Jesus Christ, when they were traveling across country, there was a rattlesnakes around his tent, and the brethren came and they wanted to kill it, and he said, no, we treat all animals with respect. We do not kill animals unless it's for, like, we're eating them, or if we're going to, or if they're threatening us. And they relocated this rattlesnake with kindness. And that's very similar. There's a verse in the Bible, and I can't think of it offhand, but I recently did a video about this. So yes, I don't know if it's uploaded or if it's scheduled to be uploaded. I do so many.
I know you do.
I forget. So thank you for bringing that up. Now, discussing community and support, both our faiths value community through, though in different ways. How do you find and build community as a pagan, or however you identify, and how does it support you spiritually?
Well, me specifically, I actually try to do quite a bit for the community. I started a business where I call it the Magical Fairs and Events. Oops. Oh,
yeah, no, I'm
hello.
gonna switch angles.
Where I call it the magical.
Here, see if we can scoot over.
Hi there. Okay, I'll talk to you from over here. No. I call it the Magical Fairs and Events, and I put on fairly large, what most people would say would be psychic fairs. But what I'm trying to do is support small business, and it is metaphysically mostly based.
But it's open to all.
It's open to all faiths, and I try to incorporate as many different spiritual practices in the people who are running their businesses, or doing readings, or telling stories, or running the kids corner, working with providing like free craft classes and fun classes for the kids, where they get to like keep all the stuff that they make and they don't have to pay for it. I'm really trying to model for the community that if we can all get along and truly respect and enjoy each other, then maybe that can spread out into the community somewhat, and dispel a lot of fears, because I think most judgment and most anger and all of that comes from fear, and fear comes from lack of knowledge and lack of knowing.
Yeah.
So I am just trying to help dispel that fear and dispel those myths,
We learned a lot over lunch today, and one thing that we say often together is there's your story, my story, and the truth.
Yep.
And we realized that we shared that value, and that's, I think, what it's about. Is if you don't know about somebody, the best thing you could do is sit down with them.
Absolutely.
And my friend Becky McIntosh, her son came out as gay in the church, and this is back when nobody was coming out gay in the church, or it was just different. It was very, now it's a different story, but she didn't know what it was like to be transgender, so she spent a day she said to somebody she knew who was transgender, let me take you to lunch, let me spend the day with you. She came back, her husband was like, wow, how many pairs of shoes did you buy? She had a whole new wardrobe. She knew how to now apply makeup in a different way. She was totally made over, and said, we found a common ground.
Yeah.
And that's what my goal is, doing these.
And I love that you are, and I love that we haven't, we don't always see each other. It'll go years without us seeing each other, and yet we're both doing something for exactly the same goal.
Exactly.
How amazing is that?
I think that's amazing. I just, and this is, again, why this is evolved. This was going to be a one-part show. Now it's going to be 3, 4, 5. We don't know.
Yeah.
But let us know your comments for Tala. And I also will tag her YouTube channel. She has like 900 subscribers on YouTube, and her Instagram. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's impressive. So that's, now another thing, what's the difference between pagan and Wiccan?
Okay, so pagan is like a big umbrella that has a lot of different, titles, or a lot of different practices under it. It's kind of like saying Christianity encompasses, Baptists and this and that, a bunch of different things. So pagan basically Wiccan specifically is a practice in nature-based witchcraft. It is not about devil worship. I think witchcraft gets a really bad name too, because of Hollywood mostly. It really is.
And you think of potions and flying,
and killing babies or whatever. Terrible things. So, Wicca is also based on the seasons. They have 8 different huge celebrations that they have throughout the year, some more important than others. But basically season-based. Basically, Wiccans work with, say, herbs. They do have their deities that they work with. They will work with intention and such. So where they say, you know, maybe people do spells, it's very similar to, you know, doing a prayer with intention, you know, lighting certain candles for something. They may go further to, you know, use different herbs or different flowers and such.
Yeah, don't they even, the Puerto Ricans, don't they have those like the Catholic candles or with like...
Sometimes the 7-day candles, the 9-day candles,
Yeah,
the knob candles,
yeah.
all of those things. I actually studied, I love what Craig said, pagan sounds like it's basically going back to nature and indigenous philosophy.
Yeah.
That's my type of paganism. I do work more with indigenous beliefs. I'm actually 4 Nations Native American, amongst other things. I am a mutt. I'm Italian, Irish, African. So pagan is working with nature. It really is. But Wicca, yeah, Wicca is, they do call themselves witches.
Well, when I first met you, you know, I was a teenager or maybe a little old, maybe in my early 20s or 19, 20 at the time. I may have said like, oh my gosh, this is my friend Tala, she's a witch.
I was
like,
at the time.
Yeah. Because I remember the first time you had me over your apartment, she cooked the most amazing sauce. She taught me something. You put little pieces of carrots in it to get rid of the bitterness or something, or to absorb the acid. And I was like little shavings of carrot or whatever. I was like, wow, it was the best sauce, and it was like a witch's brew. It was amazing.
I am still kind of a kitchen witch, I guess. Yeah. But, but remember the term witch was coming around when, you know, women weren't allowed to have really any power of anything, and so they were kind of being demonized. And these were women who knew how to work with the plants in the area to cure certain things. If you got, you know, if you got sick from eating this, you would take something else, you know. And usually your medicine is on the ground around you. You know, that's how it was when our peoples were developing throughout the world.
And that goes back to when our pioneers trekked across the plains from New York all the way to Nauvoo, Illinois to Utah, is they had to live off the land. You know, it's so let's address challenges and some misconceptions. What are some common misconceptions about paganism that you wish people understood?
That they're devil worshippers.
Okay.
Most paganism doesn't have any relationship with devil or anything, because they're not ascribing to, you know, any form of Christianity, so therefore there's not a devil. You know, which kind of cracks me up that Satanists don't call themselves religious, but they're ascribing to an aspect of that religion, and for some bizarre reason they do what they do. Yeah, I think that, you know, just because I'm making mulled cider doesn't mean I'm putting a spell on you. It means,
exactly.
You know, this is the time of year
she's going to turn you into a toad.
Right.
Yeah,
well, this is the time of year that, you know, people may start having stomach issues, and guess what? Doing, you know, ginger and cinnamon and all those things also boost the immune system around flu season. So doing mulled cider is actually...
A few months after I was baptized, I went to Utah. And I was there during Halloween, and I was floored. It was like a cake decorating contest for every house in every neighborhood. They go out so elaborate. It's better than Christmas. They have these big blow-up things and these things that jump out of trees. It's like Disneyland.
They're having fun with it.
Yeah, they're having fun with it.
Yeah.
And that's what more people, I think, need to do is,
And that's the thing. I mean, Halloween actually started in Ireland. I just recently found out, as I just got back from Ireland. And it isn't about, any of this, devil worship and all that stuff. I mean, people take things to extreme no matter what you bring up into the public, but it has morphed into this thing where it's just a time to have fun, people, sometimes a little jump scare is kind of fun,
Exactly.
Dressing up is fun,
And
so
I love what Craig says in New Zealand. The world would be so much better place with those kinds of dialogues. Thank you so much for this.
Right on, Craig.
So,
yeah, thank you. Big hugs.
Big hugs. So, another question.
I love this. I'm a Mormon energy healer. This is from Michelle, and I think this is great. I have pagan friends, so long as they are not doing hexes, curses, black magic on people. They're great. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, nobody needs to be doing anything horrible to each other. And as a matter of fact, you know what I wanted to mention? I was actually asked to be a speaker at a cult paracon in Salem in October.
Salem, Massachusetts.
Yes, Salem, Massachusetts, the Salem.
Where the witch trials took place.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of them.
Yes.
I mean, some are here in Connecticut and all over the place. But I was meditating and I guess praying, to see what I should be talking about. And I'm going to do a talk on good versus evil.
I love that.
And
that's just, this is why I'm learning so much. And I've known Tala for almost 40 years, it seems like. Maybe longer, who knows?
I think it's been 82 years.
Yeah, 82 years. That's a good number.
We both use a lot of moisturizer.
A lot. But have you noticed a difference in me since?
So much.
Yeah.
I mean, you've always had this light about you, but you just seem to be shining brighter.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, and you just seem more. You always had like a little bit of a nervous aspect in your voice before, and you don't have that anymore.
Wow.
You seem so much more at peace with yourself and with the world. So I am grateful to whatever has happened to you to find your path.
Yeah, thank you.
And that's the thing. I think everyone has to find their own path.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily.
I always say my path isn't for everybody. I joined this church to please God, not you. End of story.
Right on.
Yeah,
oh, I
right
love
on.
that. Yeah. Oh, I love that. Yes.
That's awesome. So my last question about addressing challenges and misconceptions. As a gay Latter-day Saint myself, I've encountered misunderstandings and judgment. Have you faced similar challenges within outside of your spiritual community?
Of course. And really what I do about that is I like to ask people what their beliefs are. I like to draw comparisons. Believe it or not, I'm a huge skeptic when it comes to, magical things, if you want to call them that. But I've seen things happen before my very eyes that are just, there's nothing else to call it but magic. And I think magic is just science that hasn't been discovered yet. But I usually compare, similarities that we may have. They may.
I would say there's no such thing as coincidence. It's God's way of remaining anonymous.
That's nice.
Isn't that cool?
Nice. That's really nice. I call it winks from the universe. Letting us know that someone's up there paying attention.
There's so many similar, not different, but similar comparisons that we have. That we just refer to things differently.
Yeah.
And that's what this life is about.
And I have a theory too.
Yeah.
So in the Bible it says when Babel happened, when everyone was struck with speaking different languages, there are so many languages in the world. We have different names for table, different names for shirt.
Oh, wow.
Of course, we're going to have a different name for God.
That's amazing.
You
Thank you for this. And Michelle, we're going to get to your questions because I love the fact that you're a Latter-day Saint energy healer. But I want to ask you, how, exploring rituals and practices, how do you observe the changing of the seasons, and what spiritual significance do these cycles hold in your practice?
Well, Very similar, actually. I mean, we have, we everybody enjoys Easter, and it's a celebration of spring.
Yes.
Everyone enjoys winter and celebration of Christmas or Hanukkah or what have you. And I've discovered that Jesus actually wasn't born in December. He was born in the springtime. They believe he was born in April, but the Christian church wanted to kind of make things more festive and kind of, I think, overshadow Yule, possibly. I don't know, but but it's right next to the winter solstice.
Now, see, this is why a lot of people think that we don't believe in the Bible, or that the Book of Mormon is our Bible. The Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ that was restored about Jesus coming to the Americas. And it restored, and so what it is the Bible wasn't complete because it was missing so much through translation.
Yep.
And that's why we read the King James Version, because that's the oldest version of the Bible. But we still know stuff is missing. So the Bible, the Book of Mormon provides a bridge to provide better insight into Scripture in the Bible.
And there have actually been more cuneiform records discovered in the past few years too, and that includes more aspects of the Bible, and they haven't yet released what those are saying.
And
so.
Michelle also says most of our holidays are pagan holidays. And
that's true.
That's true. And I will get to the rest of your questions, Michelle, I promise. So in finding common ground and mutual respect, in what ways do you think Latter-day Saints and pagans can find common ground and learn from each other?
Ancestry.
I love that.
Ancestry, because when we were talking over lunch, you were saying about how in being in the Church of Latter-day Saints, it kind of codifies your family.
Yeah.
It solidifies your family.
Sealed together.
Yeah, and into the hereafter, where in my belief, I feel fortified by connecting and honoring my ancestors.
Oh my gosh. I mean,
Yeah.
Have you studied my religion at all? Because we are huge. So you can sign up for FamilySearch.org, which is a free site like Ancestry.com.
Okay.
And you can do your ancestry. You can do find out your tree, your family tree. And we're huge into that. A lot of people so before I was a member, when I was a child, I went to a family reunion, and this was back in the 70s, and I had a cousin that just flew back from Salt Lake City because she was going through all these films in the old reels to do family search, because you would have to fly to Salt Lake to do that.
No kidding.
Now it's all done because it was the members of the church.
I somehow know that.
Yeah.
Seems very familiar.
We're huge into family ancestry, and we are, restoring graves. We have a billion graves where you can do grave indexing with your children, families.
Oh, beautiful.
Take pictures of the grave, upload it on the app. You can go to justserve.org and find service opportunities for free, or you can go to FamilySearch.org and register to do your family tree for free.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And these are all services that our church provides for free, but doesn't boaster about. It doesn't say, this is ours.
Doesn't brag.
Doesn't brag, no, because it's about service. And
that's so beautiful. I'm going to take you up on all those.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it.
But yeah, I mean, in honoring your ancestors and kind of understanding where you're coming from, for me, it provides me with a sense of strength that I have all of these that came before me that are still with me, still standing with me,
This is why this had to be unscripted. I said there was some conversation that we started to have over lunch, and I said, stop it. Let's save it for this live. Stop it. Because you can't repeat it. It just doesn't, it comes out great the first time, and it doesn't always happen the next time. So how do you approach interfaith dialogue, and what do you hope others take away from this conversation like ours?
Commonality,
Commonality, that's easy. Yeah.
I think if we focus on things that, even if you have to focus on something completely different, than belief systems, everyone all humans want the same thing. We all want to be loved. We all want to give love. We all want to be happy and healthy. That's why my latest, goodbye to people is, stay happy and healthy, because you can't say anything different than that, instead of like, a lot of people say blessings. Some people may get offended because they have their own interpretation of what that means and such. But in my way of saying stay happy and healthy is my way of saying blessings and giving blessings. But I think if you have to, come together on a food you love, or a movie you love, or are you a craft maker, are you a woodworker, or how much pride you take in your home, or where your folks are from, anything, we all have something in common with everyone on the planet. I truly believe that.
Now let's dive into something that I was going to say for a second one, but I'm just going to ask this question. Do you believe in Jesus Christ as our Savior?
You got time? I'll try and say it quickly. So
I love her.
I never had a relationship with Jesus until I became a certified holographic sound healer about 14 years ago. And I do healing sessions on people. I'm also a Reiki master, like Michelle. And when I work with people, I ask if I can connect with their guides, their spirit guides, their ancestors. And in one session, I had Jesus and Buddha come through. And in my head, I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing here? And they said,
goodness.
And they said,
that sounds like me when I got the vision to join the church from my brother. And he's like, I'm like, what the heck? I got Angel Macaroni. It's Moroni. I got Nephi, because I couldn't pronounce these names, all in my car at the same time. And I'm like, what are y'all doing here?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And they were wonderful.
Michelle's question. I love that.
I didn't see it. Also, crystals are not evil. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. You like my Labradorite?
And
so let me finish this, though. So they came in this reading, or in this healing session, and I'm asking, what are you guys doing here? I was very flummoxed and perplexed, and it kind of stepped me back into ego for a second, because, now I had all these questions. And they said, we all work together. It's you guys that put up the delineations. And so at the end of the session, I was like, well, that was interesting, and still being ego, questioning myself, And I said to the woman, I said, something really interesting happened. I said, I had both Jesus and Buddha come through. And she said, yeah, those are two of my guides. I work with them all the time. Okay. Yeah. Well, ever since then, I meet Jesus in my dreams every once in a while, and we have conversations.
And that, for me, is I never thought that about you. I never knew that you, and Jesus is my best friend. He's my constant companion, my comforter, he's something that every time I close with my testimony, I close with his name. I call upon him and the Holy Ghost for guidance, and I say I'm never alone because I always have Jesus by my side. And that's,
See, I don't know him that well. We're not that close.
Okay.
But I really like him, and I really respect him. I love his work. But yeah, it's like I'm getting to know him.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, maybe we could work on that together. We can, I can show you what I know about him, and you can show me something that would be, all right. So let's think about wrapping this up. So looking forward.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
So Michelle's saying crystals are not evil. God created them. Yeah. It is the intention behind using them. Thank you. It is revelation. There is going to be a fortress of crystals and precious stones around the New Jerusalem. And if you also look at the vest of Aaron, I believe the vest of Aaron was encrusted with all of these different stones to protect him.
Yeah.
To spiritually protect him.
Yeah.
So, people say, stones and crystals. And this is where I get really scientific, actually. I truly believe that there's a Nikola Tesla statement, quote, where he said, to believe in the universe, you have to believe, or to understand the universe, you have to believe in frequency, vibration, and energy.
Yeah.
And everything in the universe is made up of frequency. Everything has its own frequency. The reason you can see color is because it's emitting a particular frequency. The common cold has a certain frequency. Love has a certain frequency. Death has a certain frequency. Cancer, joy, all of these things have different frequencies. And I kind of think of, now this stone has a frequency of protection, transition. You ever play with like tuning forks when you're a kid? I'm sorry.
Yes.
So you hit one and you bring it next to the other one, and the other one starts to vibrate too. Well, I think that's how we are. So
and that's how they find wells and water. And
exactly.
Stuff. Yeah.
So, you know, by this radiating of that frequency, and I bring it into my electrobiomagnetic field, that I'm going to start to you know, change to that frequency, you know, ever so little. So that's how I believe that they work.
And Michelle also says they represent the 12 tribes of Israel.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in looking forward, if you could share one piece of wisdom from your pagan faith that the world, faith with the world, what would it be?
Oh gosh.
Or let me rephrase this question.
Okay, good.
Going from Oprah Winfrey, she taught me a huge lesson. It was basically the question that she wanted to ask Michael Jackson when she interviewed him at her home in primetime TV, she never asked. And she regretted when he passed away that she was never able to ask him this question, and that is, what do you want to be your legacy? What do you want to be known for when you're no longer on this earth?
Bringing joy. Helping people to accept themselves and others. I think, you know, a lot of people are at conflict with themselves, and I try to help people with that.
Exactly.
So.
And you brought a lot of peace and joy in my life. I remember, you know, we've traveled together. I got my first ticket dropping her off at the airport in Boston.
I'm sorry about that.
It's okay.
But you got me there in time.
I did. I got you there. No, well, I got it after leaving because I didn't know what commercial vehicles meant. And I said, well, I'm not a commercial, so I can drive my car through this tunnel. And I got stopped at $50. And then 5 minutes later, I got stopped for driving on the cobbled street sidewalk in downtown Boston. And the cop was whistling, and he was there on foot. He goes, pull over. And I'm driving in between these carts that are selling their goods on the sidewalk. And he goes,
know that. Oh my
how did you get here? And I said, I don't know how I got in here. He goes, there's Jersey barriers. Did you hop over them? I'm like, I don't know. And I started crying, and I said,
I'm sorry, I woke up here. I don't know.
I just got a ticket 5 minutes ago, and I was rambling for going in commercial vehicles, and I didn't know what commercial vehicles was, and I just got a $50 ticket. It's right here, look. And he was like, oh my gosh, you're rambling so much, I'm just gonna let you go. But I gotta figure out how to get you out of you're driving on a sidewalk. And that was you were going to Arizona, and I drove you from.
That's right. Oh my gosh.
I have a photographic memory. I just
oh
love
my gosh. Yeah, that's right.
That was back in the 90s, and I drove you from Connecticut to Boston. It was a 2-hour drive, and then I picked you up a week later, and that's I mean the history. Thank you. The history that we have. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I am so grateful for each and every one of you that joined us.
Me too, yeah.
Please share this with your friends. Start it from the beginning. We need more love in this world. We need more kindness. We need more Talas.
And more Dennises.
And more Dennises.
And more of you guys.
And more of you guys.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have her YouTube channel, her Facebook, Instagram, all in the description. I didn't add it because this came together at the 11th hour. And we're going to do a part 2 and a part 3 to this. But I just would like to leave you with an invitation that if you scan this QR code, Tala, you can download a free copy of the Book of Mormon.
Okay.
And I will leave that with you. That's what we call a pass-along card. So that would be cool.
He's trying to convert me, you realize that.
No, we talked about this. We're not here to convert people. We're here to share common.
That is totally fine.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Common I can get you a hardback version if you want for free. We do give them away
I
for
will
free.
download it.
Okay, I download. You're so cute. So thank you. And
Thank you, Dennis.
my friend Karen says, LOL, now you should really explain what commercial vehicle is. So Karen lives in Cedar City, Utah. She's a convert from Europe, and she joined and served her mission, I believe, in England. And she had to wait until she was 18 or 20 to get baptized because her parents wanted her to wait, and she did. And she now has a full-grown daughter, and she's been in the gospel her whole life. But so commercial vehicles means that you have a business, and I didn't know. I'm like, commercials. I'm like, I've done commercials before. I've been on TV as a kid, so I can take my car there. And my friend Michelle says, I love this. This way good. So happy. Awesome.
This was
real.
good, she said.
Yeah. This is good.
Awareness is real. Right on, Michelle. Agreed. Yay.
Thank you, everybody. And I'll let you know next week when part 2 is. And we're just going to continue this on. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Karen,
nice meeting you.
Karen says no service in Belgium.
No, served in Belgium.
Oh, served in
Joined
Belgium.
when I was 28 because my mother gave permission. Adult age there was 22.
Awesome.
There you go.
Thank you for the correction. I knew I was going to mess something up. I always do.
Bye.
Bye.